Good day, everybody. This is the Ecclesiarch here, back with some more Warpforge, and today I have some exciting news. Turns out that the Necrons are gonna be here sooner than expected, and that means they're gonna be here with a new raid tomorrow. That's going to include a new warlord as well as some reinforcement cards. And I'm here to give you an early sneak peek at all the cards that are going to be featured. And trust me guys, some of these cards are insanely fun and good. So let's take a look together and let's see what exactly we shall be expecting. So number one, of course, we're gonna start off with the warlord Sautekh the Cruel. So this is a 35 HP warlord with the destroyer feature and is going to have talent hardwired destruction. The hardwired destruction is going to be 2 energy, give +1/+1 melee and ranged to a friendly unit until your next turn, and if it's a destroyer, give it armor until your next turn, armor 1. Now this is actually pretty good. It might seem like a bad thing at start for some, but it's actually not bad because both the attack and the armor stick until the next turn. That means it's going to be insanely difficult to outtrade this guy in any sort of like face bash combat, not even if you're playing some other warlord with a very high damage and you know everything. Like for example, even if you're playing Gordrang, you're gonna have trouble against this guy because he's going to have like bonus damage and armor. So if you're face bashing, you're slowly going to get behind. So apart from that, what I do want you guys to notice is that he's a destroyer. Now, some people were expecting that this guy would have higher melee, just like the Swarmlord, but I think we got something scarier because don't forget that disruption blades are also going to affect this guy. So whenever you're going to do the disruption blades, he's going to get an attack equal to 5. So that is going to be a very, very, very scary feature. Now, I'm not sure how powerful that is going to be, but that really does incite you to play some destroyer-based decks, which is going to be a breath of fresh air, because this has been something that people have been asking about for quite a while already. Now, let us move on to some units, and trust me, the units are no less exciting, because number one is going to be a damaged plasmacyte. So 2 energy 1/1/3 with a remnant and flying, already a pretty annoying unit, but look at this. Adjacent units have regeneration too. And yes, you guessed it correctly, that means the warlord as well. So this is a very powerful control tool. Like put this beside your warlord, put this beside a lich guard, anything durable basically, and it's going to become hell to deal with. Now, I'm not sure exactly how powerful this is going to be. There are certain warlords that can counteract this, but I don't think this card is meant to be dropped early in the game anyway. I think this is something that you drop later on in combo with something else, something that has front line maybe, or something has high armor. So a pretty cool card for sure, and I'll be very excited to try this out, to be honest, maybe on Nemesaur as well. Okay, the next one is the Flayed Ones pack. 3 energy 3/03, Remnant and Artifice deploy a Flayed One. So Necrons are now going to get a very powerful, like potentially powerful combo at 3 energy, because if you're playing Oricon the Diviner, you could potentially get this and 2 more Flayed Ones if you play this Menhir and his ability. So pretty scary there, because as you know, when the Flayed Ones leave the remnants, once resurrected, they're going to become fast. So this is certainly something that will be a very good addition to aggro decks and destroyer decks, because if destroyer decks are going to be aggro, this might end up becoming a very scary addition. Now, it's a little difficult because it's 3 energy and it's competing with some very good cards, because Necrons are known for their 3 energy drops. So yes, this is going to be pretty interesting to see whether or not this card makes it into the list basically. Next one is the Locust Destroyer. This is the card that I like the least, I'll tell you right off, and that's because I smell that Scarab synergy right there. So it doesn't have any good stats, but look at this. When another troop dies, deal 1 damage to a random enemy. So that already smells Scarab support, and honestly speaking, the last thing that this game needs is a Scarab support, because honestly come on, who likes Scarabs, okay? Who likes playing against it anyway? And this could be really dangerous when played with Scarabs, because if you have 7 of them on the board, you just drop this guy and you sacrifice the scarabs, and this guy keeps dealing that 1 ping. So this basically recently, like, disruption blades were nerfed because of the scarabs, and now they basically got something to you know, something to compensate for that. So I'm not the biggest fan of the Locust Destroyer. It's not going to be in a destroyer deck. I think it's more like going to be in a scarab deck, but I might be wrong. We'll see. The next one that we have is a damaged Hexmark, and this is a very interesting one. 5 energy, 1/5/5 remnant, but look at this. Apart from being a destroyer, it has Artifice attacks by itself. So if you play this at 6 energy, you can essentially make him attack once by itself if you're playing Oricon per se. So this technically can act as either flank or a fast, so this could be a very scary finisher. Now the good thing about it, which kind of keeps him in balance, is that it's a destroyer. So that means that it cannot just attack the enemy warlord and ignore the other units, because if there's anything on the board it can kill, it has to attack that. But keep in mind that this is Artifice, which means that he can actually keep doing that over and over again as long as you have spells to play. I'm not sure how to feel about this guy yet, but technically speaking, I think this is going to be a very scary control tool, and it also has a remnant. So yeah, I think this thing has some very, very scary potential. Now, the next thing that we have is absolutely insane. That's the Immortal Phalanx. 6 energy, 3/7/7, so very low melee attack there, but it also comes with regeneration and remnant. But look at this. When reanimated, deploy a copy of these troops. So this is actually very, very nasty. This could be very good on both control decks as well as the Nemesaur deck, and now you pretty much have a very good reason to to run Undying Legions, because if the enemy doesn't get rid of the remnant on this thing, it can become a huge cancer. So I think one of the issues I see with this is that if somebody gets Undying Legions and just plays this, if you are unable to deal with the remnant, because you first have to kill this, then remove the shield from the remnant, and then destroy the remnant itself, you're slowly going to end up in a very very toxic situation. So I'm honestly unsure how good this is in terms of health for the game, because I can see this getting out of hand very quickly, because unless you deal with this, it's just going to multiply, and whatever it summons is going to create copies as well. I think the way you fix this card is that you gotta make sure that whatever this summons doesn't have the ability to copy itself. That's what I think. Maybe it would be good to, like, once you resummon this, deploy a copy of the Royal Guard or whatever the hell it's called, the 6 energy one that has rally deal 3 damage, because this way I think it might go too insane, because once again, unless you're able to take care of this, then you're in a very, very sticky situation, and I think that's not healthy for the game. But a very strong card though. Now, my personal favorite, Locust Lord. 6 energy, 4/7/6. Stats are not that good, but look at this. It's a Remnant Destroyer with regeneration too, and it has Backlash. Create a Resurrection Orb in your hand. And don't forget, it has a remnant, so every single time this thing gets resurrected and killed, it keeps giving you Resurrection Orbs. Honestly speaking, some of you might think that this is the most overpowered card in the list, and honestly speaking, I don't think it's that crazy. It's very strong for sure. It's like a key legendary for Nemesaur, but I think the previous card, the Immortal Phalanx, is the one that Everguild needs to be kinda looking out for, cause I think this might break the game. This seems like very toxic in certain situations, but the legendary card is absolutely insane. This should be this thing that you should be gunning for to get instantly as soon as you acquire a legendary wild card or whatever, because this card is going to be absolutely nuts. Now, the next thing that we have here is the Annihilation Barge. So 8 energy, 3/6/8 flying, class 3. Artifice, deals 3 damage to the enemy with lowest health. This is an example of a pretty nice late game unit, but the problem once again is you have to trigger the Artifice, which means that if you're triggering that Artifice, you need to either have Immortal Pride double on, or you have to play this at least 9 energy for it to work with Oricon. So definitely pretty slow. Could work. It's an alright late game card, but there are so many good cards being added that I don't think anybody is going to be playing this one. So that's the only issue I have with this. But it's an interesting one for sure. It's not like a typical trash vanilla card. I like it. Now, Dimensional Corridor has to be one of my favorite cards that they are adding. 3 energy. Choose a troop from your deck and draw it and create a copy of it in your hand. So this is actually a very, very strong card draw. Well, card cycle, more like, and it gives you a copy as well, so it's insanely good. Necrons are finally going to be getting their card draw, and I think a card like this is insanely good in order to create a good control Necron without over-relying on some stupid stuff they used to have. So this is going to be a must-have card for sure if you want to play Sautekh. And speaking of which, we got another card draw, which is a 4 energy. Draw 2 cards. For each troop drawn, create a reanimation protocol in your hand. So this is like the Chaos card, Hosts of Chaos. It costs more, but the card that it gives you is very strong. It's the Reanimation Protocol. And if you can see just how much Artifice these reinforcements are adding, you definitely want to be including a lot of cards that will trigger that Artifice. So this is also going to be a very, very good card for both, I think, aggro and control. I think this is more for aggro and the other one is more for control, but I think both might include both, because why the hell not? Both are very good card draw tools that honestly Necrons have been in need of for a while. And last but not least, we have the Inescapable Retribution. 5 energy, deploy 2 Tomb Blades. So nothing too crazy here, you just deploy 2 Tomb Blades, they're going to help you remove something. So technically for 5 energy, you're playing a 6 damage Flying Flanker in 2 separate entities. Mostly those Tomb Blades are also going to die, but they're gonna leave remnants. So yeah, there's some combo potential there as well. So overall, I think that the batch is very interesting. I like that. I like the whole direction that they're taking the Necrons with card draw, more control, with some destroyers. Overall, I think is really good. But there is something that concerns me, and that something more specifically is the Immortals Phalanx. I really think that this needs revisiting, because this can become an absolute stupid shit show. Because, like, once again, if you play Undying Legions and the opponent just fails to remove this once, you got a problem. I guess the counterplay is to only remove this when you're able to completely remove it. But yeah, that's now not real counterplay, right? So I don't know. Well, in any case, guys, pretty interesting reinforcements, and I'm interested to see how they will perform. Leave a comment and tell me what you think. Overall, a pretty interesting batch, in my opinion, and I'll be excited to try them out tomorrow. Ecclesiarch out.